Saturday, and well, y'all decided you wanted to jump on board with Creedmoor. We just hit the 1,000 subscribers mark, and I just wanted to let y'all know, thank you from the bottom of my heart. I am not the only one who appreciates this. The missus appreciates it as well. We've been working really hard for the better part of 2 years, just more than 2 years, and as far as I'm concerned, it's amazing that we made it to that mark, and I'm actually looking forward to the next 1,000 subscribers. I'm looking forward to more of that really cool hard work that we put in, the effort that we put in to get y'all interested and get y'all involved in some of the practices that we're promoting. I can assure you there's no fads, there's no gardening fads going on here promoted by Creedmoor, and I'm starting to get the impression that y'all understand that. So let's move forward. Really just a huge from the bottom of my heart, from the bottom of the Fury family's heart, and from our extended family of gardeners and growers around the entire globe. Thank you for making this effort so gratifying. And without a doubt, I'm looking forward to showing y'all all kinds of new things that we got going on. I'm about to put together another, or I should say, an additional video that supports the concept of using the air pots to use a host plant or a host tree to make a brand new tree or make a brand new plant. So we're going to get into that a little bit. We're going to dig into some of that. We're also going to get further into the art of composting. I'm going to start calling it the art of composting because I don't know another way to describe it. And there's no point in lying to anyone and telling you that you're all going to be able to just follow my methods and inside your first effort, you're going to make great compost. It doesn't work that way. All of the resources that you have may be different from the resources that I have. What I've done is I've learned to utilize those that I have because that's what I have. So if you've been practicing the Back to Eden method for any length of time, you know that one of the things that we tend to promote is using what you have on hand. For me, when I'm using what I have on hand, it really does mean what I get and scrape from my own land. So we've been blessed to have a piece of land that's just over 10 acres, and I have a creek on my land, I have a pond on my land, I have some forests on my land, I have some open pastures. So it's a combination of a different ecology, so to speak, that I'm able to draw from and utilize to improve the areas where I grow my foods and to make the soil much healthier. So we're going to get into that. I got some other things planned as well. Maybe some meet and greets, maybe some, some other live sessions. I may be featured as a guest on some other growers' channels at some point in the near future too. So, I'll keep you posted on that. I may have already been notified about it, but it's more of the same stuff, folks. I'm trying to show y'all my journey and how it works out for me. I'm trying to show y'all how we took what we had on our land and the advice from a really great grower on the West Coast. Thank you, Paul Gauci. Thank you, Carol Gauci. Under their gentle guidance and advisement, I've been able to utilize, especially the techniques that Paul uses in his orchard. I've been able to utilize that on the East Coast. Instead of utilizing it just where my orchard is, I grow all of my foods in there. I grow perennial plants and annular plants. So this is a great time to get to know Creedmoor. If you're new to my page, there's all kinds of stuff on the page. Check it out. Like it, subscribe it, share it, ring the bell. Make sure that you're going to have perfect unfettered access to whatever content we produce, because you're not going to want to miss it. And if you did miss it, it's okay. I understand that. It's a lot of stuff. Just go back in time. It's all there. It's all free for the taking. So enough of the marketing spiel. Let's get back to business, all right? What I was saying is we conduct a lot of experimentation here at our proving grounds. We have a laboratory on site that I use to do soil examinations so that I can actually check and quantify the amends that I make in my gardens and in the beds and anywhere we're growing foods. I can actually look into the soil, look at a microscopic level, and I can see which players are there. I can see which microorganisms exist. And since we have essentially a very simplistic list or idea of which of those microorganisms should be present, it's really kind of easy. Once you learn what they look like, once you learn what their habits are, once you learn what their functions are, then you can learn to look out for them. So that's something that we do. It's something that we promote. There's other organizations out there that do it way better than I do, but I do support my own work, my own research. So if ever there's a question, come to me. I mean, who better to ask a question about hunting microbes or the types of microbes that Creedmoor talks about than Creedmoor himself? So I encourage you, employer, to take those opportunities, utilize them, utilize me to make your gardening experience easier or better. And I'm already committed to doing the best that I can to help you out. Doesn't matter where you live. If you're here, you're in New Zealand, you're in Montana, you're in Mexico, or it makes no difference. I don't care. With this device right here, you know, we can reach out. I can be in your garden. You can be in my garden. You know, we can be looking and comparing notes pretty much at the drop of a hat. So get connected, get organized. Big industry is organized and they're doing a pretty good job of making a mess of things. So now let's let us small guys, as grassroots efforts, muscle up, get together, get strong, be garden strong, and get organized. And by that I mean, let's talk about practices that are healthful. Let's talk about practices that encourage fruitful gain, that encourage soil efficiency, that encourage promoting the life around you and the diversity of that life. Since we began our journey many years ago, I've seen all orders of the highest magnitude of life disappear and come back. Okay, when I got here, I thought there was animals everywhere. I got here and I bought this land and it had been farmed, heavily farmed, for many, many years, for generations in fact. And there was ne'er a sparrow or a tweeting bird anywhere on my property. We had rabbits, but I mean, that's about it. We didn't have deer, I didn't have raccoons, there was nothing here, really. It was basically a vast wasteland. Salt-based fertilizers were used to manage the crops that were being grown by the people who lived here. And they were practicing that particular method of tilling and turning the earth over and destroying the biomass. And to be perfectly honest with you, my land is sloped, my home is way up high on a hill, my farm is part way down, my pond is even lower, my lowest pastures where a lot of my mycology comes from is even lower. The gradient difference is at least 100 to 100 plus feet from top to bottom. So we're essentially located on different terraces, and that's how we grow. And basically what that means is all along while they were tilling the soil, the rains that they had, and may even had more than we have now, were washing the life, they were washing the biology, they were washing everything down the creek, where there is no doubt in my mind that what ended up in the creek isn't really helping the creeks. So y'all probably can hear the geese coming back. That's my Canadian geese. The first pairing of Canadian geese came here several years ago, and they decided to stick around, and they're still here. The last time I counted their numbers, they're up over 120 geese now. So the stewardship works its sound. You know, we meet them on the road walking down here every day. They'll muscle up on Creedmoor. You know, they stop me in my truck and kind of surround the truck and, you know, give me the impression that they're in control. So it's fine, it's fine. That's the kind of thing we promote here. I also have a lot of Cooper's hawks, so it can get dicey at times. These are the articles of nature that came back once I took over. Once I started letting the pastures grow, what do you think happened? More small animals came to hide in the pasture grasses. More large animals came to feed off of those grasses. Larger animals, you say? Yes, even bear. Shh, let's not talk about them. It came back. The scent chains, the smell, what they saw, what I left growing, what I harvested, the natural became more natural. And as it became comfortable with being natural again, this place became a bastion or a refuge, if you will, for, well, pretty much all the animals that I know live in North Carolina. They're stomping through my land. Some of them hang out, some of them are just passing by. But either way, we're either on their Silk Highway or we are between two rivers. So really, what the capability and the potential of this region is very, very high for promoting life. So that's basically the context of my journey, is to bring the life back, invite it back. I don't have fences to keep anyone out of Eden. I do have some low fences, but you know, the animals, the deer, everybody, the bear, they just laugh at me. They step right over them. And if they really need to take from my food, there's not a whole lot that gets between them and my food. Somehow, I don't know, by the grace of you know who, I don't really have a major problem with the animals feeding in my gardens. And for whatever reason it is, I don't know if it's more because of the fact that I'm in my gardens a lot, because we're always, if I'm not growing a plant, I'm growing a bush, or I'm propagating, you know, trees or something, or, you know, I'm moving some resource from one side of the farm to another, maybe to process it for compost or for compost teas, or, you know, making worm cake, you name it. Any number of things that we've operationalized happen here on the daily. It is not out of the ordinary to see me applying a compost tea to a fresh area that I might have just taken stewardship over, or to somewhere where it might be younger and there hasn't been a lot of growth there. I'm a big fan of putting plants in and getting those plants cramming their sugars into the soil, activating the soil biology. I'm a big fan of looking at that soil and saying, hey, are you guys doing what you need to do? Can I offer you some assistance? I'm a big fan of not slathering the earth with fertilizer. No, I know that when I put the carbon in place, and then I put the carbon cycling organisms in place with that carbon, that's what they do. You know, and it's like, let's talk about the cat in the garden, okay? The cat can be a friend, it can be an ally, or it can be a detriment to your garden. If it decides it doesn't like you as a person, it could use your garden. Well, we're hypothesizing here, folks. It could then decide, by extension of the fact that there isn't a feeling of love and reciprocation, that perhaps maybe it might utilize your garden as a litter box. Okay? Right, man and beast. Or it could simply watch over your garden and pull the moles and the voles selectively from the garden, bring them to you, share them with you, and ask for a simple reward. My position is I reward the cat, but I don't reward the cat in the garden. I reward the cat outside of the garden. Okay? If I don't reward the cat's going to misbehave. The same thing with all of these other animals around here. If I offer the deer something that's outside of the garden, maybe it's just a few sweet potato plants off the corner. That really, folks, if y'all seen my sweet potato videos, you know what, you should. If you haven't, go ahead, do that now, come back to this spot. We can put sweet potatoes pretty much anywhere and grow them, and the deer will come through and the deer will paw at them until they're totally and completely ready and mature, and then they'll harvest them for you. As long as they're harvesting them for you outside of your garden, they're not harvesting them for you inside of your garden. That's my point. My scent, my human scent, is mixed in with all of my plants. But if I make an offering to them on the other side of the fence of Eden, I don't mix my scent with that. I let that become natural. All right? If I overfeed my cat, guess what my cat won't do? It won't hunt. Okay? And likewise, if I overfeed the deer, well, it probably is not going to eat my food in my garden. And I don't know. By the grace of God, these things have worked out for us. These animals, literally, if they decided they wanted my fruits, they wanted my apples, they wanted my blueberries, they wanted my, you name it, they wanted my lettuce right now, they literally could just step right over the fence and walk right in, but they're not doing that. What is it that keeps them from doing it? All right? So in today's tribute to you people, to the 1,000+ of you people that decided you wanted to join this journey with Creedmoor Fury, I want you to tell me in the comments, let's make this productive, what is it that you do in your garden that you think keeps those animals that could be creating mischief in your garden out? Maybe it's a pack of wild boars. What do you do? How do you approach that? Maybe it's the neighborhood cats. Like I said, I used that little litter box analogy. I'm a baseball guy, and a litter box is common for us. It's sort of a euphemism for dugouts. Well, dugout of the other team, anyway. Okay, so anyway, back to what I was saying. Tell me in the comments what you do. What are your practices? Do you like to spray things out there that stink? Do you use the Deer Be Gone stuff? The smell of rotten apples and sulfur? Do you mix that up? Do you, you one of them folks that use human manure? Ugh. Urine? Really? Okay, well, right now I'm in the midst of trialing something that's called Jadam liquid fertilizer, and it's an anaerobic version of fertilizer. I'm pretty sure we've made a few videos on it. We touch base with it online. We discuss it quite often. I'm a pretty big proponent of the Jadam method because it really has a lot of good sides to it. If you ever want to learn more about it, just reach out to me. But anyway, it makes the smelliest anaerobic fertilizer that you can imagine. It really smells horrendous. But as it ages, its smell changes. And I don't know if it's that I've aged and I've aged in with it and my perception of the smell has changed because of the benefits that I'm seeing associated with its use, or what. I don't know. You know, sometimes when you find something smelly and then you use it or you eat it, you're like, wow, this is great. You know, why didn't I think of that before? Well, I was appalled by its stench. So of course we didn't put it near a mouth or a pie hole. All right, so that being said, the stuff is fertilizer. It fertilizes your plants, it fertilizes your soils. And in particular, I like to use it on the plants that made it. Okay, so if I made the liquid fertilizer with a tomato plant, I'm going to use it in my tomato zones. If I made the fertilizer with a broccoli plant, it's going to get used where the broccoli is. If I made it with all of those plants, it's going to get used universally. Well, the funny thing about this stuff is when I use it on the border of my garden, the animals don't come in so much. I can't say that this is absolute, but what can you say that is absolute? Again, YouTube loves when we have these interactions down below in the comment section because it's so inspiring, and the people who advertise stuff, you're probably seeing ads while you're watching me, they interrupt everything. I don't control that, but they want to direct your attention to the platform as often as possible. So if you happen to be interacting in the chat section and there's a dialogue going back and forth, well, the algorithm favors that sort of thing. And I suspect that you and I can train the algorithm to show us more of what we like. Okay? So go down in that little box and say, read more. We mixed up some horse poo with some lime. And then I made a water elixir and sprayed it on the fence. Dear, not for a year. Tell me what that was so that I can try it and see if it works too. And then we're all better, right? I mean, right? If it works here and it works there, what are we learning, right? That's something that's share-worthy. And as it is, I need and rely on y'all for helping me to figure out what you need me to create content on. So there's some humor in this too. It needs to be lighthearted. You know, I'm not always a very regimented and structured guy, but I do like to take a lot of notes and I like to share what works. So for what it is worth to y'all, one final thank you for jumping on with me and really making this worth it. Nobody likes to speak, sing, or play guitar to an empty room. And really, it warms the spot right here that my dearly departed friend warmed for so long, to know that I'm not speaking to an empty room. All right? Peace, love, may God be with you.